Anxiety often feels like an unwelcome guest barging into your life, doesn't it? It shows up uninvited, takes over your thoughts, and leaves you questioning your ability to handle even the simplest challenges. But here's the thing. What if anxiety wasn't the enemy you've been trying to fight? What if instead it was a message, a signal from your nervous system trying to get your attention? Most people spend their lives running from discomfort, but the truth is, learning to face it might just be the key to unlocking a calmer, more confident version of yourself. Think about it. Every time you avoid a situation because of fear or tension, you're giving anxiety the control it craves. But what if you could flip the script? Imagine treating yourself like someone worth supporting, someone who deserves patience and understanding. Instead of trying to silence your worry, you could learn to listen to it, to understand it, and even to grow from it. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about learning to ride the waves of emotions and discovering the strength that's already within you. And that's where the real journey begins. Anxiety has a way of taking the driver's seat when you desperately want it to disappear. It's like an uninvited house guest who refuses to leave, and the more you try to push it out, the more stubborn it becomes. But here's a thought. What if you stopped fighting it? What if you accepted its presence without letting it dictate how you live? Anxiety thrives on resistance, but when you acknowledge it, without judgment, you take back the control it so desperately wants to steal. It's not about liking anxiety. It's about recognizing that it doesn't have to define you. Think of anxiety as a signal, not a sentence. When you stop seeing it as the enemy and start treating it like a passing visitor, you create space to breathe. You are not your anxiety. You are the person observing it. This small shift in mindset can be powerful. Instead of spiraling into avoidance, you can learn to coexist with those uncomfortable feelings, knowing they don't last forever. And as you begin to accept its presence, you'll find yourself ready to explore how self-talk can transform the way you handle those moments of tension. Imagine having a coach who's always in your corner, someone who cheers you on, encourages you, and reminds you of your strength when things get tough. Now, what if that coach was you? The way you talk to yourself matters more than you think. Harsh self-criticism only fuels anxiety and stress, leaving you stuck in a cycle of discomfort and doubt. But when you treat yourself with the same kindness and support you'd offer a close friend, you start to build a foundation of confidence and calm. It's not about ignoring mistakes, but learning to approach them with curiosity instead of judgment. Think about the last time you messed up. Did you berate yourself, or did you offer understanding? Negative self-talk is like pouring gasoline on the fire of worry, while positive self-talk acts as a soothing balm for your nervous system. The next time anxiety creeps in, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and say, "I've got this. I've survived before, and I'll survive again." It might feel awkward at first, but with practice, you'll notice how this small shift in mindset can help you overcome even the toughest moments. And once you master this, you'll be ready to explore the surprising connection between anxiety and excitement. Here's a surprising truth. Anxiety and excitement are like siblings. They share the same physical reactions in your body. Think about it. Racing heart, sweaty palms, a surge of energy. The difference lies in your focus. Anxiety zeroes in on risk and fear, while excitement hones in on opportunity and reward. What if, instead of letting anxiety paralyze you, you could reframe it as excitement for what's ahead? For example, before a big presentation, instead of thinking, "I'm so nervous," try saying, "I'm excited to share my ideas." This simple shift can transform how you experience those moments of tension. Anxiety isn't always the villain we make it out to be. It's your body's way of preparing you for action. It's energy waiting to be directed. The key is learning to channel that energy into something positive. The next time you feel anxiety creeping in, ask yourself, what can I do with this energy right now? Maybe it's taking a small step toward a goal or focusing on something you're passionate about. By transforming anxiety into excitement, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And as you start to see anxiety in a new light, you'll be ready to tackle the next challenge. Managing discomfort in a way that builds resilience. Discomfort is like a muscle. You can train it to grow stronger. The idea of microdosing discomfort might sound strange, but it's a game changer. Instead of diving headfirst into overwhelming situations, you take small, manageable steps that gradually build your tolerance. For instance, if social anxiety keeps you from speaking up in meetings, start by sharing one comment or question. Over time, these small wins add up, and what once felt impossible becomes second nature. It's not about avoiding discomfort, but learning to coexist with it in a way that empowers you. The mistake many people make is trying to conquer discomfort all at once, which often leads to feeling paralyzed or defeated. Think of it like learning to swim. You wouldn't jump into the deep end on your first day, right? By taking small, intentional steps, you give yourself the chance to grow without the crushing weight of failure. Each time you face discomfort, you're training your nervous system to handle tension with more ease. And as you build this resilience, you'll start to see that you're not defined by anxiety. You're simply experiencing it. This shift in perspective opens the door to a whole new way of understanding your emotions. You are not your anxiety. Let that sink in for a moment. Anxiety is something you experience, not something you are. This distinction might seem small, but it's incredibly powerful. When you stop identifying with anxiety, you create emotional distance, which allows you to observe it rather than be consumed by it. Imagine standing on the shore, watching waves crash in and out. That's how emotions work. They rise, peak, and eventually fade. Instead of fighting the waves, what if you learned to ride them? This mindset shift can help you navigate even the most overwhelming moments. Think of it this way. Emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. The next time anxiety shows up, remind yourself this is just a wave, and I can ride it. By accepting that emotions have a natural flow, you stop wasting energy trying to control them. This doesn't mean you have to like the discomfort, but it does mean you can survive it. And as you practice this perspective, you'll find that uncertainty becomes less intimidating. After all, life isn't about eliminating risks. It's about learning to move forward even when the path ahead isn't perfectly clear. Uncertainty is an unavoidable part of life, yet so many of us spend our days trying to eliminate it. The truth is, waiting for guarantees before taking action is like waiting for the ocean to stop making waves. It's never going to happen. Progress doesn't come from certainty. It comes from acting despite the fear of the unknown. Think about it. Some of the best decisions in life, starting a new job, entering a relationship, or moving to a new city, come with no guarantees. The key is to embrace the risk, knowing that growth often hides on the other side of uncertainty. Trying to eliminate all risks only keeps your world small and your confidence stagnant. Instead of avoiding uncertainty, what if you leaned into it? Start small. Take a chance on something that feels slightly outside your comfort zone, like saying yes to an opportunity you'd normally decline. Each time you act without guarantees, you prove to yourself that you can survive, and even thrive. In the face of the unknown, and as you build this courage, you'll realize that not every worry deserves your attention. In fact, some of those fires you're trying to put out don't even exist. How often do you find yourself putting out fires that aren't even burning? Worry has a sneaky way of convincing you that every what-if is a crisis waiting to happen. But here's the truth. Most of the things you stress about never actually materialize. Instead of wasting your energy on imaginary problems, try trusting that your future self will handle real challenges when they arise. For example, instead of obsessing over whether you'll say the wrong thing in a meeting, remind yourself, I'll deal with it if it happens. This simple shift can free up mental space for what truly matters. Worrying about every possible outcome is like carrying an umbrella on a sunny day. It's exhausting and unnecessary. The next time your mind starts spiraling, ask yourself, is this a fire I really need to put out, or is it just smoke? You'll be surprised how often the answer is just smoke. By letting go of unnecessary worries, you create room for calm and clarity. And once you stop chasing imaginary problems, you'll discover that confidence comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head-on. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by surviving life's challenges. Every time you face a fear or take a risk, you're proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Think about it. The moments you're most proud of weren't born from avoidance. They came from stepping into discomfort and coming out stronger. For example, that time you gave a presentation despite your nerves, or had a difficult conversation you'd been dreading. Those moments weren't easy, but they showed you what you're capable of. Avoiding fear only reinforces the idea that you're not strong enough to handle it. Instead, treat every challenge as a training ground for growth. Start small. Maybe it's speaking up in a group or trying something new that feels slightly outside your comfort zone. Each time you face a difficult situation, you're not just surviving it. You're building a reservoir of confidence that will carry you through the next one. And as you strengthen this muscle, you'll realize that what you feed your mind plays a huge role in how you handle anxiety and stress. What you feed your brain matters more than you realize. The content you consume, whether it's news, social media, or even the shows you binge, shapes your thoughts, emotions, and overall mindset. Ever notice how watching a true crime documentary late at night leaves you feeling tense or on edge? That's not a coincidence. Your nervous system absorbs the energy of what you expose it to, and constant exposure to negativity can amplify anxiety and stress. Instead, try being more selective. Swap out doom scrolling for uplifting podcasts or calming books that promote growth and calm. Think of it as a mental detox. Just like you wouldn't eat junk food every day and expect to feel great, you can't fill your mind with negativity and expect peace. Start small. Unfollow accounts that trigger worry or comparison, and replace them with ones that inspire confidence and excitement. Consider taking a content inventory to see what's truly serving you and what's just adding unnecessary tension. By curating what you consume, you're not just protecting your mental health, you're creating an environment where you can thrive. And once your mind is clearer, you'll be ready to explore practical strategies for managing anxiety in your daily life. Sometimes, anxiety feels like an endless loop of worries playing on repeat. But what if you could give those worries a specific time slot? Instead of letting them hijack your entire day, set aside 15 minutes, maybe after lunch or before dinner, just to think about them. During that time, write down your concerns, let yourself feel them, and then move on. This simple practice helps you regain control over your thoughts rather than letting them control you. It's like telling your brain, "I hear you, but you don't get to run the show all day." Another quick strategy: don't overthink it, just count to 50. When anxiety starts to creep in, pause and focus on counting each number slowly. This simple act redirects your mind and regulates your breathing, calming your nervous system. It's not about solving the problem in that moment, but giving yourself a break from the spiral of stress. These small, actionable steps might seem basic, but they're incredibly effective when practiced consistently. And as you start to integrate them, you'll notice how much easier it becomes to protect your emotional energy, especially when it comes to the people you surround yourself with. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mental health. Think of your relationships as a garden. Some connections nourish you, while others drain your energy like weeds. If you're constantly around people who criticize, dismiss, or stress you out, it's no wonder anxiety feels overwhelming. On the other hand, supportive relationships can act as a buffer, helping you feel grounded even during tough times. Take a moment to reflect: who in your life lifts you up and who leaves you feeling drained? Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not about cutting people off, but protecting your energy. For example, if a friend tends to vent endlessly about their problems without considering your emotional state, it's okay to say, "I care about you, but I need to take a break from this conversation right now." Healthy boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary for your well-being. And as you start to prioritize relationships that bring you peace, you'll find it easier to focus on the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for everything else in your life. If you're constantly criticizing yourself or ignoring your needs, it's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. Self-compassion isn't just a nice idea. It's essential for mental and emotional well-being. Start by asking yourself, how would I treat a friend who's going through what I'm experiencing? Chances are you'd offer them kindness, patience, and encouragement. Why not extend the same grace to yourself? Building a healthy relationship with yourself takes time, but small steps can make a big difference. For example, practice celebrating your wins. No matter how small, did you get out of bed on a tough day? That's a win. Did you take a moment to breathe when anxiety hit? Another win. These little acknowledgments remind you that you're doing the best you can, even when it doesn't feel like it. Over time, this practice strengthens your self-worth and helps you approach challenges with resilience and confidence. And as you nurture this relationship, you'll discover that self-love isn't selfish. It's the foundation for a happier, more balanced life. Big changes don't happen overnight. They're built on the foundation of small, consistent habits. When it comes to managing anxiety and improving mental health, it's the little things you do daily that make the biggest difference. For example, starting your day with 5 minutes of deep breathing or journaling can set a calm tone for the rest of your day. Similarly, Taking a short walk or practicing gratitude before bed can help you unwind and sleep better. These habits might seem insignificant at first, but over time, they create a ripple effect that transforms your mindset. The key is to start small and stay consistent. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire routine, focus on one habit at a time. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or setting aside 10 minutes to stretch. Once that habit feels natural, add another. The beauty of small habits is that they're sustainable, they don't overwhelm you, and they build momentum. And as you stack these habits, you'll notice that managing anxiety becomes less about fighting it and more about creating a life that supports your well-being. One of the biggest traps when dealing with anxiety is striving for perfection. You might think, if I could just do everything right, I'd feel better. But perfection is an impossible standard, and chasing it only adds more pressure. Instead, focus on progress. Every small step you take, whether it's pausing to breathe during a stressful moment, setting a boundary, or simply getting through the day, is worth celebrating. Progress isn't about being flawless. It's about showing up for yourself even when things feel hard. Think of progress like climbing a mountain. Some days you'll make big strides, and other days it might feel like you're barely moving. But as long as you keep going, you're still climbing. Celebrate the small wins along the way. They're proof that you're growing and learning. And remember, setbacks are part of the journey, not the end of it. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and create space for self-compassion. After all, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Now that you've learned these powerful strategies, the question is, what are you going to do with them? Will you keep letting anxiety and self-doubt control your life, or will you take the first step toward building the peace and confidence you deserve? Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. You have the tools. Now it's time to take action. Ask yourself, what's one small habit you can start today to improve your mental health? Who in your life do you need to set boundaries with to protect your energy? And most importantly, what's stopping you from becoming the best version of yourself? The answers to these questions could transform your life, but it starts with you. Are you ready to take that step? If this video inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new content that can help you grow, heal, and thrive. Together, we can create a life that feels lighter, calmer, and full of purpose. Let's make it happen.